Aloha and welcome to the Poakalani Hawaiian Quilting family. My name is Sissy and I'm going to be your instructor, and in this video I'm going to start you off on your very own 22 by 22 inch Hawaiian quilt top that you can make into a wall hanging or even a cushion. I'm also going to go over all the supplies you need, and I'm going to show you how to cut out your design, and we're going to pin it to the background fabric and we're going to start basting. I know I'm ready, but are you ready? Let's get started. First, let's go over the supply list for this video. You're going to need your pattern, and I have two patterns for you to choose from, and you can download the patterns and you'll find the link in the description below. We have the tea leaf pattern. This is a very popular design, especially for beginner quilters, because it's very easy. It has very long lines, and in Hawaii traditionally this pattern actually means protection. We also have the Breadfruit Design, also called the Ulu. And this is another popular design, and it's great for beginners because you're going to learn a lot of the points, valleys, and your round circles. And many quilters believe if you do this pattern first, you'll actually make a second one, and you'll always not want for anything in life. You're going to need two pieces of fabric, 22 inches by 22 inches, one for your pattern, your design, and one for your backing. You can either do dark on light, light on dark. You can use batiks, use whatever color you like. You can use 100% cotton, poly blends. Just remember, whatever fabric you choose, always pre-wash. You're also going to need a sharp scissors to cut off your pattern, basting thread, pins, an assortment of needles. And those are all the supplies you need to start your Hawaiian quilted top. So let's start with your pattern. Your pattern will actually come in a 1/8 design. And so what we're going to do is we're going to just cut up the angles, and that's all you need to cut. We're going to cut the rest of the pattern when we actually cut out the design with your fabric. So we're just going to cut it up here, and we'll place this on the side. So now we're going to prep our fabric for the cutting. So we have our 22 inch by 22 inch fabric, and what I did was I did iron the creases in to make it easier for us to lay out the design. So we're going to fold the fabric in half, and we're going to fold it in half again, and this fold is what we call the quarter fold. There are quilts that are made with the quarter fold, but most of the Hawaiian quilts are actually done in a 1/8 fold, and basically it means we're cutting through 8 layers of fabric. I'm going to do one more fold. We're going to take your two folds on one side, and you're going to have another single fold, and we're going to bring it all together. So you're going to have 3 folds, folded edge in the middle, open on top, and a single fold here. So when this is done, you can place it on the side, and we're going to do the same thing with the background fabric. Again, by putting the creases in, it will help us laying out the design after we've cut it out. So again, we're going to basically open our fabric. We're going to fold it in half, fold it half again, and we're going to bring all the folds together. And if you don't have an iron, all you need to do is finger press everything. We just want to get the creases in there. Okay, so let's do our next step. We have our top fabric that we're going to use, and we have our pattern. And so what we're going to do is we're going to place the pattern on your fabric. Now remember, your top is going to be open. You have your creases here, your folds here, and your single fold. And now we're ready to pin it. It's good to pin from your center out and just kind of smooth out your paper pattern. And you don't want too many pins. This is just a cushion. And so we're just going to tack it down as much as we can. I do use silk pins. I love the silk pins because it's so smooth and it goes through all 8 layers so easy. And go ahead and do that. And you might want to pin also some of your outside edges here. There you go. I'm actually using 100% cotton. I love the cotton. My mom actually liked poly blends. The cotton, over years, they say will fade, but the poly blends are color fast and it's going to last a little bit longer than your 100% cotton. So there you go. It's all pinned. Back is smooth and straight, and I guess we're ready to cut it out. So of course, sharp scissors, and what we're going to do is you're going to cut all of the solid lines, and you're going to have some sections where it looks like a single line. You're going to cut right into this single line here. So we'll go ahead and start cutting our design. I always like to tell the story of my mom because my mom was born with only one hand, and she was born at a time where you actually didn't have a lot of left-handed scissors, and she was left-handed, and she was left-handed and only was able to cut with her right-hand scissors. So she actually learned how to do it really well. She was so precise in her cutting, and she was able to cut out all of her quilts, all of her designs with her left hand and a right-handed scissors. And sometimes she would tell me I have too many fingers or too many hands, and she was the one that taught me everything I know about Hawaiian quilting. And she learned from her grandmother. She was raised by her grandmother, and she was also known as, believe it or not, the one-handed quilter because of what she was able to do with Hawaiian quilting and in her teaching classes. My father was the designer. He was an amazing designer, and the patterns that we were cutting out right now were all designed by him, and he worked alongside my mom, and she was the quilter, the teacher, and he was able to design for the ladies in the quilting class. Okay, there you go. I think we got it all cut, and we went through all the lines. You can look at the back if there's any nicks that you're not happy with, like I see a little one here that I may have twisted the fabric. You can just kind of clean it up a little right there. I like the Hawaiian quilting because it's so forgiving. You're going to find out even when you get to the applique and the quilting stage, very, very forgiving. So now we have it all cut out. We're ready for laying out it on your background fabric. So let's get started. Let's take all our pins off. And then we'll get started on our laying it out. Okay, so we're going to lay out the background fabric, and you see how we have all the creases in here? That's going to help us lay out our design. So what you want to do is that you just want to open your pattern to the quarter fold. So let's open it up to the quarter fold here. Just going to snip that off and come out complete. So we're going to quarter fold. Oops, here we go again. Okay, here we go. So we're going to open to the quarter fold. Now this, the way we're laying out right now, it's actually helping to teach you how to do it on a larger quilt, 90 by 90, 108 by 108. You're dealing with more fabric. So what we're showing you is that always lay the quarter first. Once you're done with that, we're going to open it and we're going to lay it to the half. You've got half your design, there, and once it's there, and if you notice I have all the creases, I ironed all the creases. You put the crease on the crease, and that helps you lay out your design. Points go into the corner. Make sure your spacing is the same around. When it looks even, you can go ahead and carefully open it to your full design. There you go. And again, find your creases here, lay it out. Lay your pattern as flat as possible. And what you can do is that you can touch the pattern, kiss the pattern, but please do not overlap. We didn't start with an overlap, so it should lay right next to each other. And once all of that is done, we're ready to pin it to the background. So let's go ahead and start pinning it from your center first. And we're just going to pin it along the crease line. These are smaller quilts, so you don't have to pin as much as you would with the larger quilts. So we're just going to pin the centers. You notice my board back here, it's an old one because I'm going to be quilting, pinning, and basting off this table, and I didn't want to damage the table. And then we go. We're going to start pinning this down. And can't reach it, just turn your piece around. And then here we go. And again, I'm using my silk pins. Love my silk pins. So easy and smooth. Okay, and then there we go. Here, nice and simple. Let me push that leaf just a little bit over. And I think that's it for the pinning. You don't need to pin much on a smaller design, and there you go. So are we ready for the next step? And that is the basting, and that's the last step that we're going to do today. So I'm going to get my needles and my thread, and guess I lost my thread here. So what you do want to do with your needles and your thread, you want to actually thread about maybe 5 and have it all ready to go, so you don't have to spend your time always threading your needle. Also, what you want to do is you just want to make it arm's length. That way you don't spend half your time pulling up your thread. Okay, so let's begin. Now this stage is really important when it comes to needle turn applique. You want to baste really well, and it'll make your needle turn applique very easy to do. So this is the part in our quilting classes, especially when we're working with the beginners, is let's get this part right, and then your next section, needle turn, is going to go easy. So you want to go about a 1/4 inch in, or a little less than a 1/4 inch, and you want to start basting. You don't want to start at points or valleys. You want to start on a long edge, and you want to go little in from the raw edge, and then you just want to do a long stitch on top, short stitch on the bottom, and this is what we call our anchor stitch, meaning it's going to come off when we start the needle turn applique. And we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to baste it here. And you can also use any thread you have around the house. You don't have to use your good thread to do the basting, because those are all of these threads are going to come out when we do the needle turn. When you get to the point, again, just go about 1/4 inch in and then come back down the other side. So what I'm doing is that I'm only going to baste a leaf because I want to test my basting. I want to be sure that I'm going to have an easy time when I do my needle turn applique. So how to test it is you're going to lay it flat, and we're going to try and do needle turn applique using your basting. So we're going to tuck this raw edge right into the basting line. Your basting line should be able to hold that tuck under. if it holds the tuck under, you've got the basting line in the right position. If you go too far in, you're going to have to shape your own design or your own pattern when it comes to the needle turn. If you go too far out by the raw edge, you're actually going to have to take the basting off to turn it under. So it's good to do your basting, try to do a needle turn, just tucking it in. If it stays there, you're good. Your basting line is going to shape your whole design, and it becomes really important when you're doing circles and very intricate flowers. So all you need to do for the rest of the class is actually to finish all your basting. And then in the next video, I'm actually going to show you how to do needle turn applique. So today, what we did was we went over the supplies you needed. We showed you how to cut out the pattern. We showed out what fabric you needed. We cut it out, we laid it, pin it, and we basted. And next is needle turn applique. And if you have any questions, you can find me at sissy@puakalani.com. It's my email, and you'll find the link in the description below. If you want to visit my website, it's puakalani.com. Again, the link is down in the website. And I'm here for you to help you if you have any questions on Hawaiian quilting. And until I see you again, I want to say aloha, and remember, always quilt with aloha. Thank you.